So I have right at 12 o'clock. So for any of those that have just joined, you are coming in unmuted, and you will see Slido questions that will pop up periodically to make sure that you're able to see that and answer those questions. You can either do it in WebEx or you can scan the QR code on the screen. You don't have to do both. It's just one or the other. And again, if you've got any questions, feel free to post it in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and share a little bit about Chris Witt, who is our presenter today, before turning the time over to him. He serves as the project or product manager in the Market Financial and Licensing Group within ITG. His primary responsibility is to liaise between the Market Regulation Division and the ITG technical teams, orchestrating efforts to deliver optimal IT value to regulators, consumers, and a broader insurance industry. His development teams within ITG MFL Group collaborate closely with NIPR, state-based systems, Vertifor, individual state insurance departments, and various consumer groups. Their collective goal is to ensure that the NAIC consistently meets customers' needs. So before assuming his role as a product manager 5 years ago, Chris had an extensive tenure with the NAIC going back to 2006, where he held positions as project manager and senior software engineer. Academically, he is magna cum laude graduate from Park University in Parkville, Missouri, where he earned a degree in management of computer information systems. He is currently in the final semester for his studies for a master's degree in public affairs from the University of Missouri in Columbia. Professionally, he is recognized as an Agile certified practitioner by the Project Management Institute and holds multiple certifications with SAFE in product ownership and product management. His credentials underscore his commitment to continuous learning and professional growth. So at this time, it's my pleasure to welcome Chris, and we'll go ahead and turn the time over to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Renee. Hello, everyone. I will just start off by saying this is maybe not what your typical lunch and learn or sit and listen type of activity is. Part of the real purpose of this meeting is to get a lot of feedback from regulators. We want to know what you're thinking. We want to know what your ideas are, what you like and what you don't like. And so part of the whole point of this exercise and this session is to go through and really gather some information. So I'm really hoping that everybody can be proactive, interactive, and we can have a good discussion, at least as best as we can, with several hundred people on a WebEx type of a deal. So first of all, thanks everyone for joining. I do want to just go ahead and point out some of the things about the Slido poll. So you'll see these QR codes come up and you'll see the polls. If you have any questions, just throw things in the chat. So this is our, let me get to the right there. So some of the highlights that we want to talk about today, I'm going to show you a few things about iSite, maybe some things about iSite Plus that you might not have used before. I'm assuming that most of the people on this call have been in iSite before, have seen at least some of the basic fundamentals. We'll go through a couple of things with some fundamentals. And then we want to talk about some of the reasons why we're looking for future modernization efforts. We know that iSite is an application that has been around for many years in its current form, and we also know that at some point in the near, not too distant future, we're going to have to start doing some work on it. And so this is really sort of a foundational groundwork discussion for us to get some feedback from you guys. We want to talk about what you like, what you don't like, what you wish you had in iSite, and what you think is really, really important for us to consider as we talk about moving forward with there. One of the things you're going to be asked about, and I'm going to go ahead and ask Shelley if she can post a link. We have a mural board, and for some of you who have been part of brainstorming sessions and other things in the past with the NAIC, we have a tool that is called Mural. Mural is just a virtual whiteboard, and so part of what I'm going to be asking for the people on this call is to log into Mural. You shouldn't have to log into Mural. First of all, you should be able to click on the link. It should drop you right in here to a screen that looks like this. And there's some different sections. And so just real quickly, there's a section, what do I like about iSite? What don't I like about iSite? Down at the bottom, we have what functionality should we include in the future? and how should we take action moving forward. So I'm going to throw this out here. We'll have some time later, but if you have an opportunity while we're going through the test drive of iSite and you want to put in some Post-it notes, all you need to do is go over here to grab a Post-it note, put it to the section you want, start typing your information, and it will show up on the board, and we'll come back to that later in the conversation. If you do have issues getting into Mural or you have some thoughts you want to add, please go ahead and just add them in the chat, and we will have people that will be able to transcribe from the chat over to the Mural board so that we can see those later. And part of this is we want to make sure we capture this and we understand what you're thinking as we go through it. So we'll come back to that in just a second. Back to the slideshow here. So why are we doing this? We know that there's a lot of technology changes that have happened in the last 7, 8, 9, 10 years since we have gone through and created that initial, the iSite Plus. I'm sorry, I was hoping that apparently chats are showing up over here on the screen, Joe. I don't know if you guys can see or not, but I hope not. We know that iSite and the technology around iSite is changing. It's been 10 years. We've since moved AWS to the cloud. We have new tools coming online with our data platform, things like ThoughtSpot, and I know that the data platform team, Todd Sells and his group have been leading an effort to talk about how we move forward with new tools, new ways of giving reports, new ways of building queries. Lots of future enhancements are possible, but iSite has been a foundation for many of this over the years, and we need to understand how we're going to incorporate those new things into whatever a new iSite looks like. We know regulators work a lot differently than they used to. When we built iSite, people weren't working from home. People weren't working on mobile phones. There's a lot of things that we know we need to do to help you do your jobs better. There's a lot more resources on the NAIC.org website. So we have some folks from the communication department that take care of that are on this call. They want to hear how we're using iSite applications and how we can incorporate those into NAIC.org and better integrate all of our pieces together. We also really just want to know, I want to make it clear, we're not doing anything yet on this project. We are not in the process of rewriting iSite, and we're just letting you know. We have nothing that has started yet. This is very much an introduction, foundational conversation. So anything that we capture from the conversations today is what we hope to use to build the future of iSite. Whatever that looks like, wherever that leads us, I don't really have a lot of preconceived notions. I just know that the time is coming that very soon that we're going to have to do something. And so the whole goal of this is to get as much feedback as we possibly can. So I believe this is the first Slido poll question here. So I think I have to leave this up for just a second. While we're doing that, I'll pull up iSite. So it looks like excellent. Looks like we're getting some good feedback starting. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to start and I'm going to go through some things in iSite just to kind of give everybody a foundational look at some of the functionalities and maybe throw a couple of things out here. We've done full hour-long sessions on iSite and how to use iSite. This is not what I want to do here. I just want to go through a few things, but a couple things. So first, documentation. So if you have questions about how things work in iSite, from that front page, there's a documentation square, and there's lots of help files to go through. Pretty much many of our applications, pretty much most of them are going to have documentation on exactly what to look for, how to use them, if there's any questions about them. Don't be ashamed or don't be afraid to look through the documentation. You may find something that you hadn't even considered as something you might want to look for. We have a lot of tutorials. So many of these tutorials, in fact, I'll pull one up here, like let's just pick the Mars Level 1. So in this case, this is an insurance summit presentation from 2021, and I think we can go forward here and we'll see Randy talking. For those of you in Market Reg, and it looks like one of your fellow regulators has created an hour-and-a-half long video on how to do how to do those market analysis profiles. So there's lots of different videos, lots of tutorials that you can look through, lunch and learns that are being added. Even up to the last couple of months, we've added some MapKey lunch and learns, it looks like. So please feel free to jump in and watch some videos, take some time to look through some things. Maybe you'll learn some pieces of tools that we didn't, you weren't aware of before. Facts, we have FAQ questions. Obviously, those are going to be pretty rudimentary, but there's also additional information here, and I'll let everyone go through it. I'm not going to sit and go through everything, but just a real quick highlight. So we have tools. So the the company search. So let's start with like a company firm search, and I've already picked just a random company I've never seen before, Geico, just to show off some of their information. So you can see company information comes up when we type in, we click in the search. We're going to pull up Geico. We're going to click their button, and there's a whole bunch of information as far as company demographics. Maybe you want to find out who the company contacts are. Information is right there. So company demographics. Company, sorry. Different information, lots of different company demographic types of pieces. So let's go back through, and we'll pick the company firm again. We have some reports that we want to hear, the company firm reports. So we can go through and look for that company. We can see lots of different types of reports that are available for them. So maybe we want to look at the, pick a page, for instance. This will give you a whole bunch of different information, a bunch of different pieces of reports and data that you can look at for a Geico or any company. We can look through financial examination reports. Maybe there's some licensing reports you want to see. You want to find out everything you can from a licensing perspective about this particular company. We've created a report that you can dig into, save off to your desktop, look through all of the licensing report information, where they're licensed, what business lines they have, what states they do business in. Maybe we want to look for the market data. So we have complaints, we have market actions, we have regulatory actions. We can pull those up, and you can see, for instance, what are some of the regulatory actions that might be pending against the company. Lots of good information you can pull through here. Business entities, we have a search for business entities. So I might take the opportunity here, see, we'll put that same company in. I'll show you one thing that people might notice is there's a whole bunch of lines of data for the same business entity. What that is that's actually the aliases. So we can have a detail screen. So you have the all details, so that shows you what every state has about that particular company. If I unselect the all detail box, I see just the primary. So we can look at this Geico company or whatever company and just see the primary information. So if you're confused or wanting to know why you're seeing so much data, you're seeing data for states that have multiple things. One other thing I might point out here that maybe you might not know, and you notice as I scroll through things, you see these tooltips that come up alongside the different fields, give you a little information. If you need those, great. If you don't, you can go over to preferences. You can go to the business. You can go to show tooltips here. And I could say, I don't want the tooltips for the business entity search. And go back to that business entity search. And now you'll see those tooltips don't show up across the board. So there's another thing you can toggle on and toggle off. If we've had folks that say that's not helpful, folks that say that is helpful. It's up to you. You can choose to kind of pre-populate that and do as you would like. Also, I'll point out on these results, you'll see a lot of these items have links on where you can click. So this would be a direct link to that licensing report, maybe a writer's report, a CDS report, a mass report, the demographics. Lots of different reports are available directly from the screen itself. If you want to look at the other search, the last search that we have, the main power search would be the individual entities. So we could look for a particular name, number, social security, NPN. I'll just pick one that I know that we've played around with in testing before. This particular individual's licensed in multiple states. You can see all of the same basic type of information for the individual as well. You might notice that this person has different names, and I think that's because it's represented differently on each state's database. So this state has this person's name as this state has this person's name as that, this state has this person's name as that. So it's really, particular to what the state is passing over to us, and that's what we're going to keep track of. So as far as some other tools, you'll see up here like some company firm reports. We touched on that when we hit that. Here's a big selection of different reports that you can look through for the particular companies. Some summary reports, also the same type of setup. We have lots of different reports that are all available here, and I would suggest reach out to us if you have any questions about what type of reports are available. A lot of the information for the specific reports is in that first help box that I showed you in the documentation. But your business, contacts at the NEIC, we can always reach out and help you set up, give you some training, whatever we can point out for you. PICS is another item, and I know many of you probably do receive PICS, and so PICS is our system by which we notify you of events that are happening. But I wanted to throw a couple of things out here for you. If you do go out to PICS, one of the things you can see is you can kind of manage some of your own PICS events. You can also see past PICS events. So if I wanted to go back and look at, let's say yesterday, I can see now which PICS events would have been sent to me as of yesterday. So if for some reason I didn't get the email, I deleted the email accidentally, you can always come back out to the PICS question or to the PICS system, and you can go look and see. So let's say like the multiple resident state licenses. So I can go out and view that, and it's going to show me what I would have received in the email yesterday if I'd lost the email. I'll point out a couple of things real quick. On this one, so this particular event just happens to show individuals who have a active resident state license, and it's been active for more than 30 days in more than one state. So in this case, the first individual has two licenses, one from Florida and one from Puerto Rico, that have both been active for more than 30 days. That's great, but if you're from Florida or Puerto Rico, you want to see this, but if you're from New Jersey or Pennsylvania, like the other individual, you probably don't. So you can always go in and filter and set up your own criteria for the reports. So if you go into the box here, you'll see this link that says Manage My PICS Events up here in the corner. I can then go in and set up my filters and see what I really want to see. So I'll go in and I'll just, as a demonstration for that particular individual, we can go over in the different types of categories. So if you want to see financial PICS or market reg PICS, financial exam PICS, they're all right there. I'll go down and find my active, and you can see on this one, here's the events that are available. Here's a description of what those events are going to send back to you, and then a status of whether you're active or inactive for receiving those PICS. So let's say, what was it? The multi-resident state. Okay. So here, when I clicked on that, you can see I now have a filter that shows who I want to see. So if I were a regulator from it's Florida over here, maybe I just want to see people that are licensed in Florida. I select Florida, hit save, and then with my PIC comes, the only line I would see would be this first one right here, because it's telling we're only going to notify people from the state of Florida or that are looking for data from Florida. So it's a way for you to filter through these PICs, get the information you truly want. Some of the other ones might be even a little more complicated, like the state RIARS notifications. So this notifies subscribers of the RIARS action. When you click on that, you can see multiple types of filters. So maybe I just want to see FINRA type of events from. You can pick through here and find the criteria you want if you want to limit the amount of data. If you're getting too much data and you don't find it appropriate, you can always go through and clean up what you're doing. There's a profile section as well if you need to update any of your profile information. The last couple of things I'll show here. Oh, and one other thing I might mention, as you go through PICS, you'll notice that it opens additional tabs. And in many cases, it does that intentionally so that you can keep that tab, you can open another one, and keep the context of the work that you're not losing. You don't have to keep trying to find something. You can leave the tabs open, work across multiple individuals, work across multiple sections, however you find it appropriate. The last section on this tools drop down is some utilities. So we have lots of different applications that are linked through here, like policy locator report, for instance. Maybe we want to go out and look and see what's going on with the life policy locator. This is a Tableau report where you can drop in and you can see different types of information about the life policy locator records that are happening in your particular state. Maybe there's some NIPR reports here, so some of the producer licensing thing, maybe there's a company termination report you want to look at. Lots of different pieces, lots of different utilities, lots of different things to just look through, find out what you want, find out what your job title, what you're doing specifically in your job, if there's an area of focus. One thing I'll point out is something like the regulatory actions data entry tool. Well, I don't have permissions to do that. I don't work at a state insurance department, and I don't have writer's access. So you'll see lots of links, and you'll see information that says your ID has not been authorized to do this, or whatever that message is. You can always reach out to the contacts in your state, or reach out to the NAIC help desk if you need help confirming roles. If you need roles that belong to your job title and you don't have them, you can always reach out to us for help at help.naic.org or on the phone number that's listed on the page. So the last couple of things here real quick, there's some applications under the application tab. So maybe the online fraud reporting system, you look for fraud. There's a link to that application. There is other types of data pieces out here, ABS, lots of other applications, the financial exam tracking system, lots of pieces of information for you to peruse through. The last thing I might pull up here on the utilities page, we have an application. I don't know that we demonstrated this last year when we did a full on, but we have a state data load error tool, which is just another application, but I thought it might be interesting for some of you who get issues with data not loading, perhaps from the state. And so this is the tool that if your team is responsible for helping to load the data, you can go in and see perhaps why the data hasn't loaded. You look for maybe, what's the Alaska SIGA? I can look and see, here's a record that didn't load. I can click on the bio of this particular person. Oh, the problem is they have an unknown NAIC company code. So we need to fix the NAIC company code and resubmit the data the next day. It's a tool that is great for understanding what happens to the data that comes over to us if you don't see it in a writer's report, or you don't see it in a complaints report, or for some reason it's not showing up on the PDB like we expect. This is probably one of the first tools that we go to help you look for that. And so that's kind of my plug is, hey, go ahead and you can start looking and helping yourself if you can't find a piece of information there as well. Okay, and that's pretty much all I was going to go to with iSite itself. See how we're doing on the Miro board. Okay, good. We've got some more information. We have lots of information coming in. I think, did I miss a slide up? Or did it go back? I think we have this one. Okay, so at this point, I guess, and I don't know if and maybe throwing a curveball to folks on our team. Do we have the capability to unmute people if they have specific questions about things? I'm not sure I asked that. I know that we're muted, everybody's muted going in, but can folks unmute if they have particular comments? If not, I can just kind of start going through some of these things. So I may ask for some clarifications about things if we don't know.
Yeah, unfortunately, they won't be able to unmute, Chris.
It won't be able to unmute. Okay, so if we have some questions, we may ask for some folks to put in the chat or clarify. I do want to give everybody just 1 or 2 more minutes real quick. If you have anything else to put on here, feel free to keep adding as you go. And I will post, give me 1 second, I'll post the link again. If you're joining us late, I'll put that in the chat.
Actually, Chris, I can unmute everyone to give them an opportunity to speak, but we just want to be very careful that we have those turned off that have maybe background noise.
Sure. I think I'm hopeful everybody's gone through the lessons learned of how to turn mute on when we're at home in the background. I know I made that mistake once or twice and let everybody hear what's going on in the background. So we can just leave in if there's any particular questions. I do still see a lot of activity going on, so I may give it just 1 more minute here. While I'm doing that, I'm going to pull up just real quick. I had a couple of folks. It looks like I was looking through some of the questions here. We have from a question about the tutorials. So from the welcome page, when you first get into iSite, this is the tutorial box right down here that you can click on. So that would link you to all of the different tutorials currently available. And let's see, the tutorials. I had one other question that somebody was asking here. I thought I'd answer. Where is the state data loaded tool? So, and from that one, if you go to Tool and Utilities, state data load error viewer is the 5th one down from the top on the general box. So it would be right over here in this area. Awesome. One other thing I did mention, I don't think I mentioned was, I know there's probably going to be lots of questions about specifics about applications within iSite, and I will be happy to hang out after this meeting is over and take the time to go through. We'll go through all of the list of questions. I may not have an answer right off the top of my head, but I will definitely get your information and find somebody that can answer that question for you. There's lots of specific application things that I'm sure we could talk about for forever, trying to find things, but we'll be happy to take care of those, and we can do those at the end of the time. We have a lot of here. I'll stay on as long as I need to and just talk with folks. So, okay, well, let's move forward, I guess, with the what do I like about iSite. So let's if you can see my screen, I'll kind of drill in here. Still got some people writing. That's great. Keep going. Easy to access and find specific financial information. I like new dashboards. I like how accessible company information is, ability to generate market share reports, easy to navigate, Tableau additions, more drilled down data, visuals, these. Yes, I think that's a good comment. Being able to look up a bunch of code codes and select as you go. Yeah, I don't think I showed that really with the tool, but you can go through the company code search, select multiple code codes at a time, and then you can move over to the company reports, and you can start drilling down and selecting multiple companies and keep those all in in the memory, I guess, of the iSite. Lots of data, ability to run codes for one at a time, statutory accounting principle, PICS notifications, okay? All right, let's see. So we have, so the next question, I think this is the polling question, but if I'm reading the chat, it looks like we're opening up that third question here. What don't regulators like about iSite? So this is where we want to see what we don't like. What I don't like, StateNet looks ancient and is not mobile or ADA friendly. Very difficult to find and navigate information other than standard reports. Old interface needs updating. Use of abbreviations for company names. Use the full company names, please, or else we have to manually correct them in the exhibits that we generate using iSite data. Okay. I would like to be able to hit the return button after I type the code in without having to manually click search. Okay. The dots, yeah. OFRS is not user-friendly. There aren't instructions for OFRS on how to get a full report. I had someone from the NAAC walk me through it to make sure I get all the states included in the report. Okay. Not a fan of the 1033 data entry and the fact that you cannot enter more than one entry per license. It took 2 years for me to be able to find the reports I needed with consistent success. There is a learning curve. I think that's pretty big, and there's a pretty big learning curve. I agree. How do we shrink that down? I think that's maybe a question to be answered as we move forward. It can open lots of browser windows. Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a reason for that, and there's a reason against it too, just depending on what you're doing. The way you have to enter a permitted accounting practice. Well, I know I can answer that one and to whoever put that and say there is a new version of the permitted accounting practices application that will be coming soon that will make it a whole lot easier. Stay tuned. We'll see how that goes. That's sometime by the end of the year, I think is the plan at this point. Menus and structures of where the various reports are located can be difficult to navigate. Having to log in a lot and how quickly it kicks a user out. Yes, there's a timeout mechanism, so something to be considered. Market share data is hard to get and sometimes appears to be an error. Okay, that might be something. If we have some specifics on that, somebody reach out to me and let us know if we have error data. I'd love to hear about it and see what we can do to investigate that. Difficult to train new analysts and examiners. Sure, it can be difficult, I suppose. Downloading multiple companies' annual statement PDFs. I'm curious, is that if that is the issue with downloading that? Is it too many PDFs or too large of a PDF, or just how I see somebody adding to it? Okay, we can circle back. I guess maybe I might, if folks have anything in particular, and they want to come off mute and ask anything about any of these, or if there's some clarifications anyone wants to make, or anything, I just kind of let's open the phone lines and see if anybody has anything they'd like to talk about with some of these issues.
Yeah, Chris, so if they will select the emoji down in the right-hand corner, near the red X to raise their hand, then we can unmute them.
Okay. I don't know if I see that, Renee. I'm hoping. No hands raised?
Not yet.
Okay.
I'll
Everything's
keep an eye on
perfect
that
then.
for you, though.
Okay, everything's perfect is what I heard. No hands raised? No. Yeah, feel free to just jump in. I guess if we want to just, raise your hand and let me know, we'll be happy to stop for a second and have a conversation.
Hi, this is Rhonda Kelly from Nevada Division of Insurance.
Hi, Rhonda.
I thank you for your demonstration today. I just had a quick question about the state data load errors. When this is the first time I've been able to find this, so I'm glad that this information is here. I was just looking for a way to download this information, and I'm not finding it on the screen after I entered a search, and maybe I'm missing something, or it just doesn't have the feature to download.
Good question. I don't think it downloads, but I can pull this up here and see. I don't think it downloads.
Okay.
One of the features of this is that it changes every day. Every time the state will send a record in, which in most cases is daily, this thing is updated based upon whatever came in the next day. So those errors are there and then they're gone again. As long as they've been corrected, you may not see it the next day. I mean, it's not a permanent error, so to speak, I guess. And so I don't think, okay, I got confirmation in the chat here. There is no download feature on that application.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Just wanted to double check, make sure I wasn't missing something.
Nope. In the chat, I see Angie Hamilton, who's in the Market Regulation Department, says we do provide error reports to the states that are also present in the state data load error viewer. So perhaps I can connect you with Angie and we can figure out what we can do to get you some reports then if that's the case.
Yeah, and I have made connection with our state person at NEIC who working out the frequency that we're going to get those error reports. So we are in the process of getting that set up. Thank you so much.
Gotcha. Thank you. Any other comments or questions or thoughts?
Hi, I just got unmuted. This is Amy Stiegel from the Connecticut Insurance Department.
Hi, Amy.
Thank you for this presentation as well. I'm over in the Fraud Investigations Unit. We handle individual licensees and business entities investigations. So when I work closely with our licensing unit, but we're not licensing. So we use it somewhat differently than your standard licensing person would. So one comment quickly, I'm glad you guys put the CRD link on there a couple of years ago. That is huge for us. But I was wondering if it's possible, because I don't use this every day, and maybe I'm just missing an easier way to do this. So I'm going to say I'm not an expert, but would it be possible to put up under the CRD area there where you get a quick look at the producer, the DHS with their home state, so that we don't have to scroll through because that's kind of important information to us if they're a resident, non-resident, a DHS, et cetera. So I don't know if that would be possible.
Sorry, yeah, I cut out for just a second. Did you say you were looking for the DHS or the home state?
Yeah, I know it's in there, but would it be possible to just put it right up under where the CRD is so that when I open it up, I can just immediately get a snapshot of, like when you do with you click on the CRD, boom, you go right to the FINRA, and right up top you see the resident state, their activity, et cetera.
Okay.
Because even though I know it's in there, it just makes it really cumbersome for myself and my team when we're looking. We've got to kind of roll around to say, oh yeah, that's a DHS. So Just something to consider
And that's on
for a
the,
visual and accessibility purpose. Kind of like one-stop shopping. You got your producer, and what are the core issues on that producer? Well, he's a resident of this state, or he's a DHS resident of that state, and that sort of thing.
and you're talking about on that PDF report that gets generated?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
and
Yeah.
directly on the top of PDB.
Gotcha. I will mark that down, and I can. That's Greg's report, Greg's area, and I can pass that back to him to talk to him about it from a business, from the business perspective. So, yep, I've got your noted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Alexia from Nevada, and
Hello.
I am at this very moment sending an email to NAIC about getting access to this, but do you have a list of the security rules or all of the features here in iSite and who has access currently, or how we make sure our teams have the proper access to the tools here? Because I'm seeing Nevada doesn't have a lot of information in here. And as I click on things, it's saying, oh, you don't have this security role, you don't have that role, you can't get in. How do we get that to keep it ongoing?
So your state liaison should be the one who can facilitate that with our help desk and our security department. I can't give you access to that, or I don't have the access myself, and it's not something that we display for security reasons. But I don't honestly know who your person is in Nevada, but they should be able to work with their contacts at the NAIC and get you that information. And then if there's people missing or roles that people shouldn't have, they can work directly with them and get that all squared away for you. Okay, I see a thumbs up, so I think we're good there.
Hey, Chris. I'm with the financial division at the Indiana Department of Insurance. My name is Ben Bond.
Ben?
So we run a cross-check report at annual and quarterly when we get our annual and quarterly statements. It's got stuff like admitted assets, surplus, and different things that we kind of check high level to see if there's anything standing out with any of our companies. But it's a manual process of pulling each statement of all of our domestics. So
Okay.
I didn't know if there was a way to add a functionality with iSite where you could select all of the domestics in your state and then select like key line items you would want to pull out of each statement and then compare across instead of us because it's a manual process of us pulling all these statements each quarter, each year end, and putting in that information. And obviously you could mess up the numbers and all kinds of stuff when you do it manually, as opposed to if you could actually easily export the data out and then have it just plugged in to the our spreadsheet.
I'll simply tell you, Ben, I have no idea. I'm over in the market rate more than the financial side, but I know the people that can answer that question for you, so I'll have to get back with you.
All right, thanks.
Oh, wait a minute. I see a comment from Todd Sells, who is in the financial department, who says that's an excellent use case for ThoughtSpot. So we'll get back with you, Ben. We'll find some answers and we'll see what we can do for you. Or it also looks like fellow regulators are posting things in the chat to give you some options as well. Okay, anything else from that perspective? Any other questions or thoughts? Okay, well, let's go down to I want to get what functionality should we include in the future? It would be nice to be able to export investment pages in Excel format without requiring a lot of manipulation. More ability to run reports. Include video tutorials for basic and common usage. Example, how to access or find X. Okay. I agree with it. Would be nicer to just press enter instead of clicking submit. Okay, good observations. Agree with comment to download investment pages. Might not be iSite related. I'd like to have option to see my password when I'm logging in. Yeah, that's definitely not an iSite thing. That's an NAIC security issue, but I'll note it. Integrate with SBS. So I will go ahead and I'll throw that out there that there is some integration points. Not all states are on SBS, so you won't necessarily see the NAIC iSite application linking over to SBS, but there are at least 3 places within SBS where you see what's going on in your state with SBS, and it will link over to the iSite area. So we do have some links coming back. I know Trish Gahan is doing a presentation for SBS at the 2 o'clock session. I don't know if she'll be talking about those specific, but there are some places where within SBS you can get back to iSite. There's not a lot of interaction the other way, just because it's not the vendor for every state. Easier premium reporting integration with Snowflake. Okay. Ability to integrate iSite with our analysis documentation. Is that for the state document, the state analysis? If somebody has a little more, I'd love to just get a clarification on what we're talking about with the state systems, or I'd love to hear a little more. Access to other NAIC info like MIS data quality metric results, data load error reports. Okay. PIC, I'm assuming that's PICs, or some sort of a notification system. Okay. Anything else that's come up through here? Some typing. Anyone have any comments on that section about things we should include? We need to make sure functionality we do include in the future.
And just as a reminder to everyone, if you raise your hand, then we can unmute you so that you can speak.
It'd be nice to have a few companies saved as favorites on the company search screen. I do see a question in the chat that just popped across about training on Snowflake or ThoughtSpot to customize reports. I dare say there'll be a lot of that coming up. And Snowflake, or another question, Snowflake is not an SBS thing. Snowflake is our data platform that we're moving a lot of our data to right now. Eventually, we'll have all of our data available for regulators to get to via the Snowflake platform instead of other ways you've been accessing it in the past if you don't already have that. So that's the Snowflake comments there. Anything else? If not, I will jump over to the how should we take action. So help with Snowflake, Snowsite reporting and writing queries. Yes. I know for a fact there's training coming for a lot of these things for the Snowflake, the Snowsite. You'll see lots and lots of new information coming out about that in the next few years, if not sooner. It would be nice to have more financial exam or analyst tutorials. There's a lot of market rate changes. Okay, so more training on the financial exam, comparable to market rate. Okay. Group codes confused with company codes. Okay, and the action is perhaps we should do more training on that or explain that better. I'll make an assumption. Need audit what is on iSite and who has permissions to the different parts, applications on iSite. Yeah, again, you can should be able to reach that through the help desk and through the company or through the state contact. Audit what functionality is being used and what is not. Yes, actually, we part of this conversation that we're having today is we'll move into a greater scope of what applications are being used, what applications aren't being used, what's the most important application that does get the most usage, things like that. We're trying to keep an idea of what the regulators are actually doing. We know that writing a report or writing an application and then nobody using it is really wasting all of our time. So we want to make sure that we're only doing the things that are most important. Offer online iSite tutorials to insurance department staff. Absolutely. If there are staff needs, by all means, reach out to us. Reach out to me, and I will get you in touch with the people that we need to do. We need to do that if there's something missing. MCAS filing status report does not have an option to generate a report in Excel. In order to get all of the info out of it, one would have to page by page and copy and paste. That's the big report, yes. Separately, there's a Tableau MCAS filing summary that MC folks use, but sometimes there's a difference in the data shown there than what's shown in iSite as received as filed. Please fix. Okay. Yes, we are actively working on some converting some of the MCAS data and the data sources over to use the Snowflake database platform. And so hopefully, if there are issues with data integrity, we'll be looking at those as well. But I'll make a note of this and we'll look into that. If you have some specific examples, whoever put this one in, please email me or let me know for sure. That way we've got some test data that we know. If we know where we're failing, it's a lot easier than just trying to find stuff that doesn't match. So be happy to look into it and do what we can.
And thank you, Chris. We are out of time. If you have any last minute thoughts you would like to share with them.
I don't know that I have any last minute thoughts. I just want to say thank you to everybody that's put in some opinions here. I guarantee you we'll go through these as an organization. We've got folks from many different departments listening in right now. We will be happy to go through things. If there's something in particular that you feel like there's some specifics around something like the one that we just mentioned with the MCAS filing, and I see it looks like Elizabeth's going to reach out to me about that. Fantastic. If you have issues, please, by all means, reach out to me and let me know. Like I said, I may not know the answer, but I'll be happy to find somebody who can sort through the questions, get you to the right folks, and we'll see what we can do to solve the problems for you. I don't know if there was anything else in the chat that was urgent to be answered. I tried to go through it as I can find them. I'll hang out here after the session is over. I'll just stay right here on this WebEx. If anybody has any other questions or has any comments or wants to chat, I'll be here until the last person left.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you for everyone that's joined the session today. And we hope that you'll be in person with us next week. Have a great week. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We had somebody raise their hand here. Laura's got her hand raised.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Hey, there we go. Hi, Laura. How are you doing?
Hi, Chris. I was reaching out to one of my supervisors in my organization trying to figure out, do you happen to know what the primary difference between Circon and iSite is?
Between Circon and iSite?
Yes.
Sure. So Circon is a company that's a back office vendor for many states, and I don't think you guys are you guys a Circon state?
Yes.
Okay. So Circon is your vendor for your particular state's data. iSite is really the joining of all of them. I'm trying to think of the word. The word escaping me that I was trying to think of. But iSite is all 50 states' data plus the territories all together in one database. So
Okay.
while you have everything for Virginia right there in your little world, and another Circon state like Michigan has all of their stuff in their own little world, you're not really seeing what's going on in each of the individual states. And so iSite is that picture. iSite is that joining of all of the data together for regulators to share across state lines.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you.
And,
Is there a particular application in which accessing iSite would be a benefit? I guess
what,
if I was, go ahead.
what do you do in your day to day?
I'm a policy insurance examiner.
Okay, so you're probably more on the financial side.
Forms.
Or okay, so sure, there's some of the applications here, and I'll pull this back up here. And this is not, and I'm sorry, but this I'm more on the market rig side and not as much on the policy side. But there are different types of reports that you can go through. You might just go through some of these reports, and you
Okay.
can see how these little tooltips pop up with each
Mhm.
one that kind of gives you just a snippet of what that report looks like. Maybe it's something you look at and you go, oh, well, maybe that does sound like something I might be interested in.
Absolutely.
You can also go into the documentation, and you can kind of look through some of the tier, and that's going to give you a little more information. So Form A, maybe that's something that you want to look
Oh,
at,
okay. All
and you
right.
can find a lot of information about that.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.